Feeling the beat. A fourth grade Bentonville teacher is going beyond the classroom by teaching his kids a unique dance step.
And fostering family, we introduce you to a couple that has heard the call to impact children through the foster care system.
Plus, we go rolling with Nolan.
All of Arkansas was going wild.
Nolan Richardson was the architect of the glory days of Arkansas Razorback basketball. In our downtown conversation, we spend time with the Hall of Fame coach from his ranch in Northwest Arkansas.
All that and more as Downtown Now starts right now. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Downtown Now. I am Aaron Nolan.
I'm Dana Schlagenhaft. We're coming at you from the main stage at First Friday.
We love First Friday. This is a community block party for everybody in Northwest Arkansas. All right, so for today's show, we're talking about history, we're talking about family, and we're talking about legends.
And did you know?
All right.
30 years ago this year, the Arkansas Razorbacks won the national championship in men's basketball.
I remember that night like it was yesterday.
I know another guy who remembers it like it was yesterday, and he's the man who strolled the sidelines in his red leather boots. Take a look.
Almost exactly to the date, 30 years ago.
Right. 30 years ago, we were cutting down some nets, and all of Arkansas was going wild. It was something that you'd have to be there to believe it happened.
And we'll have more on that downtown conversation in minutes.
You know, I like to think that family is the building blocks for community, and Bentonville is no different. Our friend Jenny Chasso is a Walmart associate. Her and her husband have fallen in love with fostering.
We think First Friday is like the most Americana vibe.
Oh, no. Richard and Jenny Chasso are now home.
Probably 15 years ago when we first talked about it, and we were in the process of talking about kids and marriage.
Originally from Minneapolis, this family moved to Bentonville about 6 years ago for work. 2 years later, this duo embarked on a new journey that would shape their family forever.
And when we moved down to Bentonville, Walmart actually had a really big foster care awareness event, and they had all of the local nonprofits come into the cafeteria. We went to an informational meeting, and the rest is history. I think we were open within 6 months.
With the help of local organizations like The Call, this couple and their 3 kids have provided temporary housing for countless foster children, including 9 in long-term placement.
The most important part of fostering is you're saying yes to the unknown. You don't know what you're walking into, and you have to have faith that it's going to work out, and you ask for help when you need to. That was a big adjustment for us, but it's definitely been a blessing for our family.
In Arkansas, on any given day, nearly 4,000 kids are in the foster care system, but only 1,400 homes are open, meaning there are simply not enough beds for kids in need.
I have spoken to so many people who say, I just don't know if I'm ready. Like, I feel called to this, but I don't know if we have what it takes. You have what it takes. It's the ability to have space for the child. You have an extra bed. Can you get an extra bed? But your heart grows. And so I would say nobody's ever fully ready and prepared, but it's saying yes to the unknown. The kids that come into your home need you to attach. They need to be loved so fiercely and so deeply.
This Bentonville family with a passion for kids knows that more goodbyes are certainly on the way. But the hope is that despite the time a child spends inside their house, the impact felt will last a lifetime.
We have a philosophy at home is that when we do close a chapter on a case, we always take a couple weeks as a family. My husband and I talk to our kids and say, what did we do well? What did we do very poorly? And what could we do differently next time? And then before we take new kids into the home, we sit down and say, are you ready? We love it, our kids love it. We kind of say they're brothers and sisters for life.
And as you might expect, many times on a First Friday, you'll find Jenny and her family right here on the square.
You sure can.
In fact, our First Friday stage is jam-packed, not only with some of the best musical acts around our area, also some of the kids in town. One performance recently caught our eye as we not only saw top-notch fourth grade talent, but also respect and love for their teacher. This is Mr. Ladd's Steppers. Between lessons on reading and math, science, and spelling, you'll hear a symphony of claps, stomps, and slaps filling the halls of Willowbrook Elementary. A percussive performance from Jeffrey Ladd's fourth grade classroom.
And I asked my mom, well, what is stepping? And she was like, it's a movement between your hands and your feet used in the Black Greek community. And when Mr. Ladd came to the school, everybody else thought that it was amazing because a teacher was doing it.
The first day of school, we started practicing, and then we did the first move, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna love this class.
The transformation is striking. One moment, they're students of Willowbrook. The next, they're Mr. Ladd's Steppers, a dance troupe mastering the art of stepping.
I definitely understand the realness behind teaching and how you impact and shape the whole child. It's a way for all of us to kind of have like a side mission, and it keeps us focused on the main goal because the main goal is not hard, we have something on the side to look forward to.
And next thing I know, we're doing our first performance, then another one, and I'm just like, what did I do to deserve to be in this class?
In May, a chance to perform at the First Friday event in downtown Bentonville before an audience. It's a big stage, both literally and figuratively, and the Steppers are ready to, well, step up to the challenge.
And I was like, oh, this is really happening. We're about to get on this stage and show the world what we do every single day in this class.
To see everybody cheering and screaming our name, that was immaculate.
The performance is more than just a dance. It's a blend of discipline and creativity that Mr. Ladd has instilled in his students.
We are like the best we've ever been when there's a crowd in front of us. Like, it's just like, we're like, just like perfectly in line.
When the stepping subsides and the crowd's cheers fade, just behind the stage, a special moment shared between Mr. Ladd and his steppers.
I tell the kids, I was like, it's not my job to campaign as your favorite teacher, but I'm going to be me and I'm going to give you a great experience. And a moment like that just shows me that, like, wow, I'm on the right track, I'm doing the right thing.
In weeks, the school year will end, and with it, this particular group's time as Mr. Ladd's Steppers. But when summer fades, a new class of fourth graders will step into the shoes of those who stomped before them, ready to keep the rhythm alive in Willowbrook Elementary.
WPS.
Pig Suey!
Woo Pig Suey is synonymous with Northwest Arkansas. We got the chance to go to a legendary Razorbacks home. It was such a cool experience.
We're rolling with Nolan. That's next.
Dana, I have not told you this story before.
Great.
I hope you're ready for this on
let's
TV.
do this.
I met Nolan Richardson a long time ago, and I told him that my dad was called Rolling with Nolan as a kid. He looked at me and goes, Aaron, how old's your dad? He's the original Rolling with Nolan.
He is the OG, the coach of the 1994 national champion Arkansas Razorbacks. We went to his ranch in Fayetteville, sat down with him. That's our downtown conversation.
Coach Richardson, here in your home. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for meeting with us
I'm honored
today.
to have you guys in here. I mean, it's glorious days for me when you think about what has happened before, and then we're still talking about it today. That's wonderful.
30, almost exactly to the date, 30 years ago.
Right. 30 years ago, we were cutting down some nets, and all of Arkansas was going wild. It was something that you'd have to be there to believe it happened.
The whole state was behind you. I'm going to show you this. I wore this when I was 13 years old. It's a
Wow.
Razorback during that game. The whole state was ready. We're so anxious. What does it feel like to have an entire state behind this team as
Well,
you guys were in Charlotte?
Not very many coaches will ever get that opportunity
No.
to have a whole state, because usually in a state you got other schools that
Right.
are in that state that were really something. Not that the Arkansas State or ULAR is not in the same caliber. But during that period, Arkansas was like the only school in the state because that's the only one that could win a national championship. And so everybody came together. You had fans that if Arkansas was playing somebody and they were against, at that point, they would have been against. Yeah. But not during the time that there was a national championship. The fans band together, the people of Arkansas band together, our team banding. It's a bunch of banding, and that made it beautiful.
So April 4th, 1994, I would like to say the state says we all did it. We were all excited.
Absolutely, they all did it. If you're talking about the state and the fans and the people, we had the greatest fans in America. I mean, if they can go, they'll be there. Yes, and that's the bottom line. If they can go, they'll be there.
What was your first thought the minute that buzzer sounded, the game ended? A lot of hugs.
There was. There's one particular thing that the thought in my mind was that I had lost my daughter, and she was a tremendous fan of the basketball. And I looked up into the heavens and said, "Thank you, Lord," but we got her a national championship. I think that was the heavy on my heart because she felt like if I took the job over here, that I could win one, and she was right.
I'm looking at the picture over here of her looking over you with that hog hat.
Right.
She's been watching over the teams over the years.
She have really been an inspiration for me because at one point after that had happened, I was just about ready to just resign and go back and apply for the principalship because that's what I aspired to do if I didn't coach in sports. But I think her believing in what I could do gave me the opportunity to feel that I've got to get it done. And so you had that extra help from my daughter, yes.
I want to talk a story I read that I think speaks a lot about who you are as a coach and as a person. As that game was about to start, we all found out that Ken Bily was starting. I think a lot of people were surprised by that, but that was recognition of a lot of hard work.
Oh, well, you know, I get a kick out of it. I get that question asked to me quite a few times, particularly from people who are not from Arkansas that enjoyed the game. It says, how could you go into a national championship game and not play or start your best five or your five that you started all year? And I said, well, he was a senior, number one. He paid the price for being there in practice, making the other guys better. Had he came at a different era, he would have been a superstar on a ball club. And anyone that has worked as hard as I put you through deserves 3, 4, or 5, or 6 minutes or whatever. And if I signed a kid that I couldn't play 3, 4, 5 minutes in a game, then I need to be punished because Bily certainly deserved every minute of the time that he got. And of course, when you win, you look like a genius. If you lose, they say, well, that Nolan is stupid. And they would have been right either way.
I'm looking around the room and you see all the accolades and all the photos. You think, oh, Lord, it is hard to be humble. There's a lot of wonderful trophies and things that you've done over your career, but what you don't see is what you talk about with Ken Bily, the 5 Ps, preparation, prevents, piss poor performance. I've heard about your practices. Thank God I've never been in one because I've heard they're very difficult. But that's where these championships, that's where the winning comes from.
That's exactly true, Dana. You know, if you put in the work, you may not see it all at one period, or you may not see the fruits of what you've planted until later on. But constant consistency and habits, and you know, everybody would always ask me when I would go to coaching clinics, how do I get my guys to play so hard? Because we work hard every single day. There's no excuse for not working. So therefore, working is only an attitude. And if I develop the attitude that I'm ready to work, then I'm not going to worry about where it is that I work or what game I'm playing. Everything is work, work, work. And I think that was the message that was sent during the practices that I gave.
I want to pivot a little bit. I'm from Bentonville. Watched that national championship game in Bentonville. I heard you were close to Bud Walton. I also heard one time he coached the red and white game.
Yes, he did.
I want to ask, first of all, how is he as a coach? And secondly, I want to hear about that relationship.
Oh, it was funny because Coach Broyles and I went to see Mr. Walton to see if we could just get a donation to get more seats in Barnhill. And he said if we could get another 1,000 seats, because we'd just gotten into the Southeast Conference, even Ole Miss was ahead of us, and Mississippi State had more fans than we had at Barnhill. So his project was to get $1 million and let's remodel and put some more seats. And I approached him with that. And Mr. Walton, I'll never forget, he smoked cigarettes. He's puffing, and he said, he gave me a little cough, and he said, we can't be spending no money on something that's not going to be good for you. I said, and he said to Frank, what would a gym cost? And I said, 30, 35 million. He says, all right, you got a place where you can put it? He said, yes, sir. He said, okay, and then I'll give you got half of it today, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. And that's how it all went for him. After he decided, and we're getting ready to play our red and white game, it was going to be, I believe, Tyson on one side and Mr. Walton on the other side. And they went through just what we did as coaches, pregame meal. I mean, it was exciting, but it took him about 2 or 3 months before he decided that he would do it. He said, I can't coach, Nolan, you do. I said, nobody else can either, but they think they can.
So did he win?
No, he didn't. I felt so sorry for him. I said, well, you know how I feel sometimes, don't you, Mr. Walton? He said, yeah, that ain't no good feeling, Nolan. I said, no, it's not. But anyway, we had a great time. There's a little circle where the first shot taken was by him at the arena. Those were some great times, having him being a part of it, all the way through until he was passed away. He was a big fan.
I was there when we collected the spirit of Barnhill,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
when we released it into Bud Walton Arena. That was a special moment for the fans too, and it all was a perfect storm at that time of.
Yes, everything, you're right, it all seemed to just come together. Winning a national championship, getting into a new facility, fans being so proud of walking into that building for the first time and saying, wow, it is one of the most beautiful facilities in America today. I dreaded leaving Barnhill because you go in there, you come out with a headache.
I used to wear earplugs as a kid.
Yeah, there were some days, nights that, God almighty, you go home and just boom, you're still rocking. But then as time went on with the Bud Walton, it had almost 9,000 more people than Bud did. Than Barnhill did. So it began to pick up that kind of a feeling. You walk. Teams came in there to lose. Because they said, hey, Coach, I hope we play you a good game. I said, I hope you do too. How do you hope to play a good game? I hope to win. I don't care about the good game.
Well, they're up against 40 minutes of hell. They had no chance.
They had no clue until they ran up against it, and then they knew they wasn't supposed to win.
Big thanks to Coach Richardson for inviting us to the Richardson Ranch and making this Razorback fans' entire day.
I've got some video that maybe I'll show one day of Dana calling Coach Richardson. It was amazing. Hey, the 1994 team defied gravity, no doubt about it.
Oh, there it is.
We're coming back to this stage. We'll defy gravity at First Friday after the break. There's a lot of really cool things that happen at First Friday.
Yeah, they're sure.
Recently, we didn't have Glinda, we didn't have Elphaba, but we had a Broadway show.
And we had Kayla and Perry Ryan Theater Company. Take a look.
Tell them I'm defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down. I hope you're happy. Bring me
Wow, that was wickedly good.
It sure was. Thanks to Kayla and Perry Ryan Theater Company for coming on this stage and really wowing the crowd.
All right, that is our show for this Sunday. If you didn't know, we do this each and every Sunday, so come on back 10:30 next week.
Yeah, we'll see you then.